Welcome to Monster Monday, continuing on our Fright Nights. We got Fright Night 2. That's it.
Night.
No subtitle.
Yep.
What would you have said?
Fright Night 2.
Frighty or night?
Frighty or night.
Frighty or nightier.
Frighty or nightier.
Okay, so this is a direct sequel. This does not fall into the category of,
remake
sequels to the original that have a brand new cast of characters or, they do that in a lot of these franchises. But this one, we get all our same characters back. Charlie and Peter and, Charlie and Peter.
Charlie and Peter.
That's it.
And
girlfriend's gone.
She's gone. That's shocking to me because I feel like, although it makes sense for Charlie's character in this, like how he's like trying to go through therapy and rejecting vampires and all of that, like I feel like his girlfriend who was turned into an actual vampire would be not somebody he'd want to be around. But it's also like your girlfriend turned into, like, she's corroborating. You have two people corroborating your story that vampires are real. Like, it's not just you. And like, shared delusion is a thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's his excuse in this. It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to think that Charlie actually, and I guess he wants to move on, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what it is. He breaks up with his girlfriend. He basically stops talking to Peter because he wants to move on from it.
Yeah.
This is, I guess this is interesting. It's hard to believe, but this is the story.
Yeah.
And the story is that Charlie wants to go to college. He wants to have a life, and thinking that he took on vampires is too crippling to his world. And I can understand that. The world we know, right, it's hard to, it's like, I bring this up all the time on the channel, but it's the Matrix thing, right? It's where they don't pull people out of the Matrix at past a certain age because the mind has a hard time letting go.
Right.
And when you shatter people's realities, right? Like if aliens showed up tomorrow and told like all the Christians and the Muslims and everything, like, no, we created you. Yeah. They would be like, people can lose their minds because they're so attached to their beliefs. They're like, no, that can't be real. And it alters their entire perception of reality and who they are. So I guess it's not, if you look at it like that, where Charlie has fundamentally changed at his core into a person that he doesn't like because of what truths he came across. It is something that you can say, but I think if that was the case, that should have been addressed and acknowledged.
Yeah,
like if he went to Peter and was like, I need to not believe this. Right. Then I would have been like, okay, I get that. Right? But like, he's not assertive enough with like that kind of information.
Yeah.
But so I feel like I'm filling that in.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay. And in the beginning, we're thinking this is a put on, right? He's just telling this guy what he wants to hear, but it seems legit. Like he doesn't want to believe
in vampires anymore.
Yeah, and it takes more vampires.
Oh my god, it takes so much for him to like. Yeah.
Now this is directed by the wonderful Tommy Lee Wallace, who directed good old Halloween 3, one of my very favorite films. And guy doesn't get enough credit. Now this is definitely an inferior film to the first one, but still a very entertaining movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sticking with the tradition of the first one, some killer effects.
Yes.
Some really cool stuff in here. This isn't some downgrade sequel in production costs and whatever money they had, they threw a good amount of it at the gnarly effects.
Yes.
And I was really on board with that stuff.
Me too. I really love the effects in both of these films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Charlie's still a shit boyfriend.
Yes.
He might even be worse than this.
Yeah, he might be.
He is worse than
this. I think
this.
he is worse.
Yeah. He's not learned. He's
has
not
not
learned from his mistakes. He's a shit boyfriend. Which girlfriend do you like better?
I like, I don't know, I guess the one from the first Fright Night. I'll say her.
I'll go with this girl. I think that she just has more going for her, right? She seems to be, I mean, just on the fact that she can read so fast.
Okay, that is crazy. I've never seen that before.
Like,
I was like, what is she doing? And she's just reading. No, it was like this. She like
oh yeah,
went
she did
down
like this
like that.
That's
I
how
want to
speed
try
reading.
to do that, but
You have to learn the technique. They teach
but
it.
they read like the first and last like letter or something of every word.
There's something about like you focus in on something and the words start to like fall into themselves. I've watched a video on it and I'm like, what? But if you ever get a chance, there was a video. There was something that happened years ago. I remember watching it on TV, and it was the world's fastest reader versus the Micro Machine guy, and they both were reading War and Peace, and they started and they did like a minute or two, something like that. It's been a long time. It was the 90s, and I was a kid, and they got done, and the world's fastest reader got through so many pages. And they asked them questions, multiple questions from the pages they read to see what information they had retained. Even though the Micro Machine guy read out loud.
Yeah.
So you knew he read it, but it was more of retention, right?
Yes.
And that's what matters is like you can read really fast out loud, but if you retained any of the information, and as fast as the Micro Machine guys could talk, the like speed reader who literally read like this, he was like, and I'm like, what the fuck?
So crazy.
Crazy stuff. He just blew the Micro Machine guy out of the water. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
He had so many more pages than him.
I believe that.
So people can read that fast. It's just wild.
So wild.
But a talent that I would love to possess.
Oh my god, me too.
Sure.
I just read so many books all the time. It would take, you could read like 5 books in a day easily.
If speed reading is accurate, then why isn't it something we're all being taught?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Right?
It might not be something that everybody can learn too, you know,
Maybe.
because obviously there's lots of, you know, if you have dyslexia or like any other, you know, kind of like learning disability with reading, that would probably be hard, I'm sure. But I don't know. I want to like learn how to speed read. So she is cool that she knows how to do that. I will give her that for sure.
I just can't imagine you're very detail oriented with your reading if you're speed reading. I feel like you're going to be losing a lot of info.
And I also like, especially sometimes when I read fiction, which is mostly what I'm reading, I don't know. I like to take my time with it sometimes because it's nice to just like, sometimes I'll reread stuff just to like keep the image in my head. Right. Yeah. And like, I don't know. There's something really nice about that too. But if I wanted to get a bunch done, I would 1,000% wish I could, you know, speed read.
Yeah. We already talked about Jose Menendez, and how he was the reason the third was never made because he was murdered. Look into that case.
Awful.
So, did you ever figure out who?
No. I was like
Jerry Dandridge's sister in this, who she is.
I couldn't. I didn't figure it out.
Yeah, I kept letting her get it.
She was so familiar, eventually. And I was like,
but she never came up with it. So the woman who plays her is an actress named Julie Carmen, and she is most notably for us Linda Stiles from In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't know. I just like, she was so familiar looking and I could not. And then at some point I stopped thinking about it too. But I was just like, I'm already awful with names, but usually I try to be able to at least remember what movie they're from. She doesn't even look that different, really. You know, she's
more
a little
sexified.
She's more sexified and like mysterious in this.
Right.
And in The Mouth of Madness, she's a little more grounded at times, for sure.
Well, she's more conservative. She's like an editor and shit.
Right. But still, that's cool.
I wonder, because Tommy Lee Wallace is so tight with John Carpenter, if this is what got Julie into In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It's possible, because Hollywood's very incestuous in that way. Anyway, and yeah, once again, Charlie has picked a girlfriend who he's kissing on, and they're like, Charlie, enough!
Oh
like,
my God.
we're not going all the way. And it's like, we're in college. Like, really?
Yeah, I don't know why they... Well, I don't know. Everybody's different. I'm not going to judge them.
No, I'm not judging them. It's just funny that
funny
two
that it's
girlfriends
two
in a
girls
row.
yeah.
Or like, they basically made her the same as the last girlfriend.
Yeah, I
which
don't
just
like that
made it
much.
feel like there was a, like, I don't know. It's almost like it was written for his last girlfriend, and Amanda didn't take the role, and so they kind of wrote it a little different.
Yeah,
but kept similar
that.
things. But she was banging him at the end of the first movie, right? So it wouldn't really line up. It's just kind of like they're doing a repeat of his girlfriend from the last movie.
Yeah, I don't know why that was decided.
Yeah, weird decision there, but it is what it is. And you get vampires on roller skates in this coming at people.
That's cool.
Just very
that was
80s.
Very, very 80s.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
You got Jonathan Gryce in here as a werewolf?
I was so confused
Werewolf?
what he was. He's a werewolf.
Vampire?
But
Vampwolf?
Evil Ed turns into like a wolf looking thing.
Sure,
So-
but this was like
But they
more
were
werewolf.
like, you gotta bite him on the neck. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
I think he's a
I
vampire.
mean, if werewolves can bite you anywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like vampires can also technically bite you anywhere, but the trope is on the neck.
He's a vamp wolf.
I have no idea.
He's a werepire.
He's a werepire.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the hell he is, but anytime I see him, I know a lot of people see him as like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, but he'll always be Laszlo Holyfield from Real Genius to me. But he's great in this.
Yeah.
And then you got Brian Thompson, who's Kaylee's favorite character in this, who likes to name all the bugs before he starts eating them.
Just moths. He was just eating moths throughout the film, but then at the end, he's only full of like worms and cockroaches. And mostly, I was terrified of him when I saw how big his tongue was. That was honestly disgusting. It was so big.
It's crazy. You think a girl would be way more turned on by a large tongue, but I guess not.
No, I don't know. I mean, sure, maybe. I'm sure there's some people, but I was like thinking like how awful it would feel to like kiss, like to French kiss a tongue that big. It would be like.
Poor Brian Thompson.
I'm sorry. You know, he probably is a fine kisser. I don't even know if he's still alive, but
he is.
I'm sure he's fine. And I'll stop judging his tongue. It just grossed me out seeing how big it was with a moth being eaten as well.
Yeah.
Like that whole combo is just like.
Yeah. I definitely prefer when he's like slicking back his hair with oil and talking about with that fucking like, with that like studded knife that he has in Cobra.
Oh yeah.
Fucking pig. Anywhere.
Scary.
He is scary. Like when he's
really
the
scary.
janitor and he's like going and he has the glasses on and the switch black hair and people are like looking at him. He's on the freaking elevator. He's like.
It's scary. He's not the same actor from The Mask, right? I always confuse
No,
him.
you always
I
confuse
always do that because
No.
it looks just like him to me.
He's in the X-Files
Yes,
quite
yeah,
a bit,
yeah.
but yeah, he's great, man.
Yeah.
But his tongue is
This
massive.
tongue is scary.
And the naming the bugs when he eats them thing was actually created by him on the set.
Oh, that's cool.
He was like, it would be cool if we named him. And then when he dies at the end, all the bugs come out of him.
It's only like worms and cockroaches.
It's disgusting.
Why are there no moths in there? He's been eating moths the whole film.
Because he chews them up and he swallows the rest. I don't know.
Okay.
Or he's just feeding them all. He's feeding the bugs in his stomach all these moths. I don't know. There's a kind of a recurring gag here where every time like a vampire tries to enter a building, someone like closes the door or their window in their face.
Yeah.
Which, don't they have to be invited in?
Yes.
So
that's like kind of like the idea, right? Like not inviting you in, like haha.
Yeah. I don't know. And we've got the roommate that he has in this movie who gets seduced by Sister Dandridge. He actually had AIDS on set. and wanted to do this role. He was really excited about it, and they had to take like great precautions because at that time they didn't know how it was spread, and they were like worried that the fangs or whatever might accidentally draw blood from him and whatever. So they were like really, really careful, and he died not too long after this was made. So
it's really sad.
And I feel like that happens, like with a lot of movies we've been watching,
especially 80s ones, you know, because it's like
and the AIDS epidemic was really terrible. And they go to this like vampire club, and she's like trying to play it off like she's just some performance artist.
Yeah.
And she does this. They do this like necklace swing.
So cool.
And it like her face really keeps kind of going in and out. But like when she turned, like I'm not like into her or anything, but she's pretty. Mm-hmm. But like when they're doing like the half transformation face, she looks like a man.
She does look really masculine.
Very masculine.
But I really liked that scene and the effects in it. I was like, when it's like over and she like goes to like pretend to take out her contacts and like her teeth, I'm like, what? How is she putting them in those 2 seconds when you're literally looking at her? Like, that made no sense to me, but I get it. It was just to kind of be like, eh.
Well, he's in denial.
Oh,
so he's willing to accept any
But anybody else watching, I'd just be like...
I don't know, man. Have you listened to like our the political landscape of 2023 and what people are like willing to accept as truth when it's clearly not true? Yeah,
you're right. But I just, for me, it was like...
They're like, here's a video of this person doing this or saying this, and people were like, that's not real. That was made by the deep state.
Yeah.
Or whatever fucking bullshit people have to tell themselves so they can, vote for their bullshit. Anyway, so we also have another reoccurring thing here that we got from the girlfriend who won't sleep with her boyfriend is Peter Vincent figures out that they're all vampires the exact same way as he does in the first movie by taking a little hand mirror and looking behind him and then going...
Yeah. Makes me, I'm glad, I have a hand mirror. I like never use it, but I like should start using it to check for vampires. Because apparently that's how they're caught more often than not. So.
Okay. We can have some room.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just like to be near you.
I want to be near you too, but I also want to be able to like sit on my chair.
What? I'm not even on here.
You're pushing me away. So you're trying to be close to me, but all you're doing is pushing me away. Let that be a metaphor for you. Yeah. Yeah. And I like that. What's her name? Mrs. Dandridge. We'll go with Sister Dandridge. She comes into Charlie's room through the fog. Now she is invited in previous to that.
Yes, he invites her in.
He does. That's what I thought.
Come on in. I got a light for your cigarette.
Right. So she comes in on the fog, which I thought was a really cool effect, how the fog kind of creeps in through the window over the floors, and then she kind of appears through it.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah. I mean, they have like 8 different ways to transform, I guess.
Sure.
But you can't turn to fog when they're like trying to kill her.
Right. Only when she's entering rooms.
Or a wolf, or whatever, a bat, or whatever.
Right.
Right. Like, it's only out of convenience for the shot. Yeah. And the dog always knows. Number one. Always knows. And the speed in which this werepire is able to like bark at this dog and come back as a normal human face, like, and then comes back. What?
That was
so fast.
So fast. It was really funny. Because he like totally turns. His face like transforms.
Yeah.
1 second, then he's normal the next. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy fast.
And then, it's Regine?
Oh, yeah, Regine?
Regina?
Regine?
Regine?
I don't know.
Yeah, Regine. Regine Dandridge is her name. And she replaces Peter Vincent on his show. And she becomes like Elvira. Mm-hmm. She originally didn't want to do the role because she thought she was like a knockoff Elvira, but then they like rewrote the character to give her way more to do, and I guess that's what we get in this. And Yeah. She has her dead to rights. Yeah, he's like gonna kill her, and he has her like dead to rights, but then she uses her red eye power to stop him from doing it, and this is what gave me that theory of that she is in Jerry Dandridge's house at the end of Fright Night 1.
Yeah.
Right, because the eyes match up.
They do match.
So I'm going with that. I like it.
I think it's a good theory.
Even though I know she wasn't created till this film, but it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Just for fun continuity. And the vampire bowling scene is interesting. They're just like, let's go blow off some steam and
bowling. It's like a joke because it's like his therapist, Charlie's therapist, is like, you should get out and bowl.
Yeah.
And he's like bowling, and then
the vamps
are bowling. Yeah. 80s.
Yep. Good old 80s. And then Peter Vincent is put into a funny farm, and the girlfriend has to show up and act like a doctor, but this ultimately doesn't lead anywhere because one of the nutcases in there breaks them out. Yeah. Which was pretty funny. I mean, she didn't even need to come.
No.
He would have broken. He would have
just done it for her.
Yeah, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Subversion. And so I guess if you take like a bishop's robe and throw it over a vampire, that makes them burn. It's blessed, yeah.
It's holy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he like turns to jelly. There's like a weird effect really there, weird. But I liked it. Yeah. I liked it. He looked like a jellyfish or something. Ugh. Gross. And then we get roses because there's like in vampire lore there's like 5 different plants that repel vampires, and it's like garlic, wolfsbane, roses, wild roses, and a couple other things. And if that's like old school lore, and they put that in here, and it's because she read Dracula. Right? That's what she was speed reading was Dracula. And she was like, if I didn't read that book, I wouldn't have known to do that. Yeah. Right? So I guess in Dracula...
I don't remember, but...
Did you read Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I have read it, but a long time ago. Like, I was in high school when I read it, so I don't remember...
Yeah, you don't hear roses much.
I don't remember much about it. But I know the story, I just don't remember the roses.
And the romantic vampires of the past, you would think they'd be coming around some roses.
But they have to be wild roses.
They do. Why does she have wild roses in a library, in a college
It's the flowers that he brings her, but he buys those from a florist. Right. So why would they have wild roses? I guess they could. I don't know.
What's the difference between a wild rose and not?
One grows outside.
Aren't all roses?
I don't know.
Like, they're the same. They're from the same seed, no?
No. Probably not, no. I'm sure there's different variations.
Oh, I'm sure, but like...
I was just thinking like one is like wild, like untouched by man, and the other one is cultivated by humans, so maybe there's a difference.
Much like Charlie's girlfriends.
Yes,
they're untouched by man. Yeah. And then they put the communion wafers in a cross symbol inside her coffin. And then when Peter Vincent's hitting her with the sunlight and the broken mirror, which she just stands in the shaft, like light, and takes it, she tries to jump into the coffin wall on fire and explodes. That was awesome.
Yes.
that was super cool. That was funny. And then something happens that I can't explain, and I have zero. Like, usually I can maybe try to come up with something. I got nothing on this one. She blows up. A fireball comes up the friggin' elevator shaft all the way up like 5 stories, 10 stories, whatever the hell it is. But Charlie and his girlfriend, who are sitting right next to her when she blows up, no burns, no damage, nothing. An explosion that large when they're sitting right next to her coffin. They're fine.
Totally be hurt. Yeah.
Hurt
at least.
Try incinerate it. Eviscerate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always doing that
We
Hobbit
always
quote.
do it because it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is good.
Incineration.
Incineration.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an explanation. They just are fine. God's grace saved them. Whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means. It's
Yep.
fine. Alex. Alex is his girlfriend's
No,
name.
Alex, yeah.
Yeah. And Charlie, you're the worst boyfriend. You're the worst fucking boyfriend. This actually reminds me, this scene in here, I doubt this is where Sam Raimi got this, but this is like exactly the same as the scene in Spider-Man. When she like invites him to the opera and he doesn't show up at like, you know, of course in Spider-Man though he shows up late and Bruce Campbell's like, tie. Oh, shoelace. And then he's like, sorry, you can't come in. That whole scene, I fucking love those movies. But yeah, he's awful.
Yeah.
He shouldn't date anymore. But he gets the girl in the end. And she's like, they're on like a beach or something and she's like, or not a beach, but like on the grass or something. And she's just like, he's like, oh, we should make babies. And she's like, well, we got to practice. And then she like throws the blame. I'm like, no, don't screw this guy.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Terrible. But a fun film.
Really fun.
A fun film. A fun follow-up. Nothing amazing.
No,
it's not as good as the first,
the first
for sure.
one's definitely much better.
But I'm glad it exists.
But it's a good follow-up, and it was fun, and it's a nice, double feature.
Yeah. So,
sure.
Next up, next week, we will be covering the Fright Night remake, which was much better than I was expecting it to be when I saw it in theaters.
I'm excited for it.
I was not expecting anything of it, but good old Anton Yelchin, rest in peace. He is a great Charlie, and I'm very much looking forward to revisiting that. Colin Farrell as Jerry Dandridge. I saw it in 3D. We'll talk about it then. I didn't pay for it though. It was a screen, they invited me to it kind of thing years ago. But a cool movie. I want to see how it holds up.
Yeah.
So until next week, guys.
Bye.